Hi everyone, this is Dr. Muhammad Hafiz, the Department of Ophthalmology, KIMS Karwar. Today we'll talk about the visual field analysis, that is Humphrey's field analysis single printout report. How do we analyze the basics of that? We'll try to see. Okay, this is what the Humphrey's field analyzer is. You have a computer like thing here, which is the monitor, and it is operated by an operator, and the patient will keep her head and chin rested over the head and chin rest, and patient will have a trigger in her hand through which she has to click. Every time she sees the light in the cupula, she has to click. That's how the computer detects that patient has seen the light. That's how the computer analyzes the visual field. This is the cupula where the patient, there is a chin rest and there is a head rest, and the different lights will be shown on this cupula, and the patient has to detect by clicking the trigger in her hand. This is how you will see in a computer screen. This is the 30-2 threshold. 30-2 threshold, where 30 stands for the degree of central 30 degree of visual field detection, and 2 stands for the second generation. As you can see, this is the vertical line and the horizontal line, and the dots to be detected, the dots where the light is shown is adjacent to that vertical and horizontal line. Not on the you can see there is no on light on the vertical and horizontal meridian detection of visual field. It is adjacent to that. It is straddling. The points are straddling. Between each point, it is around 6 degree, and it is 3 degree from the vertical and horizontal line. The first row of point, it will be 3 degree from the horizontal and vertical line. The subsequent points will be 6 degree from each other. Okay, this is what 30-2. This is the LCD monitor of HFA. Coming to the single hand printout, in a single hand printout, the test results will have 8 different zones. 8 different zones. Zone 1, zone 1, zone 2, where is zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, zone 6, 7 and 8. Sometimes it is arbitrary, it is very much arbitrary. Zone 1, after that it can be, after zone 1 and zone 2, it is zone 3. See here, sometimes they will take zone 3 as raw data. Coming to all the zones, first zone is the patient's data and the test data, and zone 2 is the reliability index. This is the zone 2 reliability index. Then you have raw data. This is the raw data. Raw data is nothing but the exact stimulation, exact sensitivity of each retinal points which has been detected. It is irrespective of whether the patient is having any media opacity or not. It is what the computer detects the patient's input as retinal sensitivity. Then grayscale, the raw data as depicted as a black and white picture, that is your grayscale. Based on the sensitivity, if the patient is having a good sensitivity, it is seen as whitish towards the whitish shade, and if the patient's sensitivity is very bad, it is seen towards dark. Okay, then you have total deviation plot. This is what total deviation plot is. Total deviation plot is nothing but it compares the patient's data with that of the age-related normals which is already fed inside the computer, which compares that and detects how it is deviated from the normal patient's data, how the patient's data is deviated. That is nothing but total deviation plot. There is something called as pattern deviation plot. That we'll discuss in the next class. This total deviation plot and pattern deviation plot, I will make one more class on that. It has to be dealt very systematically. And global indices, you have a mean deviation, pattern standard deviation, CPS, that is corrected pattern standard deviation, short term fluctuations. All these things will be there in global indices. Then glaucoma hemifield test. This is where glaucoma hemifield test is coming. Glaucoma hemifield test is in short to be told in short, it is the hemifield, the upper field. This is the upper field. Upper field is compared with the lower field. Corresponding areas will be compared with the upper and lower hemifields, and if the limits are outside the normal limits, for example in glaucoma sometimes it can be outside the normal limits, that data will be given in the glaucoma hemifield test. That also will be dealt in next coming classes. Okay, now today we'll discuss about only zone 1 and zone 2. What are there in zone 1 and zone 2? Zone 1 is nothing but patient and test data. Patient's name, age, date of birth, height to be tested, pupil size, visual acuity will be entered here. For example, here patient's name will be given, date of birth will be given here. Based on the date of birth, patient's age will be calculated. The importance of date of birth and age is very, very important, because the computer or the HFA analyzer itself will have some normal age related data. For a particular age group or a particular age, patients will have normal data through which the patient's data will be compared with that of the normal data, so that patient's data will be compared with that of the normal data to see any deviations, to see any deviations. So entering the age and the date of birth is very, very important. You cannot arbitrarily put any date just for the sake of testing, because the patient's data will be compared with that of the age. So this is a very important point. Then the pupil size. The importance of pupil size is every time you do the test, the pupil size should be constant. Otherwise, in a smaller pupil, the entry of light is very less. The sensitivity might decrease. If the next time when you do the test, if the pupil diameter is slightly larger, the sensitivity of the test might increase. Light entering the pupil will be more, sensitivity might increase. So that should be avoided. Then visual acuity and refractive correction should be given. For example, if a patient is having a patient's visual acuity is set to be 6/6 and his foveal threshold is very low, that means it is not correlating. So there should be some problem with the visual acuity test. So entering of the visual acuity will detect whether visual acuity is proper or not, or whether the foveal threshold is proper or not. Coming to refractive correction, if the patient is having any refractive error, it will reduce the amount of light entering the eye. If the patient is having refractive error and if we are not given a refractive correction, proper refractive correction is not given, the amount of entry of light into the eye will be distorted, and there will be generalized depression in the data sensitivity. So these are the important thing about the patient's data. And patient's data, we'll see what are the test data to be seen. So these are the test data. First thing is test name. What is the name of the test? Is the central 30-2. 30 refers to the central 30 degree of the test to be done. From the point of fixation, you detect 30 degree, only 30 degree field. This is where the glaucoma visual field defect most of the time arises. And 2 stands for the second generation, where the points are straddled over the horizontal and vertical meridian. Points on the vertical and horizontal meridians are not detected here. Okay. Then coming to the strategy. What is the strategy used? There are many strategies. There is a full threshold strategy. Then there is StatPax strategy. Then you have Sita standard. Then Sita fast you have. So these are the different types of strategy used. For example, in this patient we have Sita standard. See, earlier it was a full threshold. Full threshold is highly time consuming. Maybe it is accurate if the patient does it properly. It might be an accurate thing, but it's a very time consuming. If any test, and there is a time when the time consumed is more, the patient tend to lose the interest and patient tend to lose the attentiveness. When the patient tend to lose the attentiveness, there can be chances of high false negative error or high false positive errors. The false negative, especially false negative errors can be more. That is the reason the test time should be very less. That is the reason new thresholds have come up. That is Sita standard and Sita fast. Sita stands for Swedish interactive threshold algorithm. It's nothing but it's interactive. The threshold of each point is, for example, the threshold of each point is predetermined. It calculates the threshold very fast based on the previous data or based on the normal subject, age-related normal subjects data. It predetermines and takes very, very fast the threshold of the each point, not like the full threshold type of algorithm. Sita fast is even more faster. These two are the two strategies commonly used now. Now, one more parameter is background stimulus. What is the background stimulus? Here it is given the background stimulus. It is around 31.5. 31.5 so apostille. In the background the cupula, inside the cupula, the stimulus of the background, the intensity will be around 30.5 apostille. Then what is the size of the stimulus? Normally the size of the stimulus is Goldman type 3 type of stimulus. Goldman type 3 is commonly used. Sometimes Goldman type 5 can be used. Type 3 stimulus stands for type 3 stimulus is an 4 mm cube stimulus, not very big, it's quite small. If the patient is an extensive Gauquemet's field defect, in such cases patient can have a type 5 type of stimulus. That is not important. Just remember there is a size of the stimulus. Most commonly used is type 3 and it's a white stimulus. Okay. Now coming to the zone 2. This is the zone 2. This is called as reliability index. The reliability index is nothing but how reliable is your test. You have done a test. Now whether the doctor can depend on this test or not, based on certain reliability indexes, the doctor will decide whether the test to be reliable or not. For example, there is a fixation loss. What are the fixation loss? What is the false positive error? What is the false negative error? Based on this, doctor will decide whether to depend on the tests or not. We'll see all those things now. See, in the zone 2, mainly 3 things. Zone 2, that is the reliability index. You have mainly 3 things. First one is fixation loss. Fixation loss is if the fixation loss is more than 20%, the test is considered to be non-reliable. For example, there are different methods of testing the fixation loss. One such method is called as Heijel-Krakow type of method. Heijel-Krakow. Okay, here what does the HFA field analyzer does is, for example, if this was the visual field area or the cupula, and you have a blind spot here, the HFA field analyzer has detected this as the blind spot. Now any stimulus, any light present here, the patient should not detect it. Understood? Patient should not be detecting. When the patient was fixing here, this was the blind spot and he should not be detecting. If the patient moves his eye, is inattentive, and if the patient has fixation loss is there, if he has moved the eye and his fixating point has reached here, his original blind spot will reach here. Now the HFA field analyzer consider this as a blind spot and throws the stimulus here to detect the fixation loss. Now patient's blind spot is here. Now it has shifted. Patient has moved his eye. So any stimulus on the initial blind spot, patient will detect it as a stimulus and he will trigger it. Previously undetected area of the blind spot, now the patient start detecting stimulus in that. So this is the way Heijel-Krakow method of detecting the fixation loss. If it is around 20%, the test is said to be unreliable. The one more method is gaze tracking. Okay, gaze tracking. One more method is gaze tracking. Infrared light is thrown on the patient's cornea. If the patient moves, so and its relative position with the pupil is detected. Its relative position with the pupil is detected. It is done for each and every stimulant. This kind of light is thrown. If there is a fixation loss, or if the patient moves here and there, this will move, and it will move from side to side. Earlier the point was here. If the patient moves, it is moved. This is very most accurate than Heijel-Krakow, because even in slightest 1 degree movement of the eye can also be detected by this. Okay, this one more figure we have. This is the fixating target. See, for all normal person there will be a single fixating target. If the fovea is good, they will be given single fixating target. If the patient is having central scotoma, where he cannot see the central object, he will be given a diamond shaped. The lights will be shown here. So it is a diamond shaped target for the patient who is having a central scotoma. It can be a smaller diamond. If the scotoma is quite large, they will have a bigger diamond. Okay, that is about gaze tracking. Now coming to false positive error. False positive error is nothing but falsely positive. When there is no stimulus, patient is triggering his trigger. For example, every time when the light is shown on the display, an audible cue is presented, a sound is presented. The patient will expect that sound. When the patient expects that sound, sometimes the computer itself, the HFA analyzer, will try to detect the false positive error by giving audible cue without showing the light. If the patient triggers at that time, it is considered as false positive. The light is not shown, the audible cue is given, patient triggers for the audible cue, not for the light. At that time, one false positive error is given. If the number of false positive error increases more than 33%, it is called as false positive error. It is unreliable. Now, if it happens in patients who are called as happy trigger patients. Sometimes patients are very happy to trigger. They will keep on clicking the trigger, very happy. So such patients are called as very happy trigger. If the false positive error increases more, such patients are called as happy trigger patients. The problem with this is the patient can develop white scotoma. What is white scotoma? Is everywhere since the patient is clicking everywhere, for each and everything patient is clicking. Even the smallest dim light, when it is present, patient will start clicking. Patient is clicking irrespective of the light is being thrown or not. So even the dimmest light is given, patient will click. The computer will detect it as a high sensitivity area. High sensitivity area tends to look very white. So it is called as white scotoma. Okay. Now coming to false negative error. False negative error is nothing but at a patient's threshold has been detected for particular for the points. Now a supra threshold light is given. A threshold of say for example XdB is the threshold of some point in the visual field. A supra threshold, slightly more than the threshold intensity is given. Now the patient should detect. If the patient is not detecting previously detected area, now the patient is not detecting, even with the slightly above supra threshold or slightly more intense light is given, even then patient is not detecting. Such type of error is known as false negative error, where the patient should have triggered, patient is not triggering. It is called as false negative error. If the percentage increases 33%, the test is said to be unreliable. Understood? It's a failure of patient's response for the second stimulus. So our supra threshold stimulus will cause a false negative supra threshold error. Supra threshold error. Now, in a patient who is having high false negative error, the patient can have cloverleaf pattern of grace in the grayscale area. Patient can have cloverleaf pattern. What is cloverleaf pattern? For example, see, there were 4 primary area. Initially patient was attentive, patient was clicking properly, so these will be detected properly. When the computer starts detecting the peripheral to this 4 primary area, patient becomes inattentive. And patient is not detecting, patient is not triggering. In high false negative patients, when the patient becomes very inattentive, when the test goes very long time, patients become inattentive. These areas will be shown as whitish color, and this area will be shown as darkish color. So it will appear like a clover leaf. I don't have a picture of a clover leaf. Try to see the clover leaf. What is clover leaf as? So that area will be shown as clover leaf. Now it is seen in high false negative area. Okay, that's all for today. We have completed zone 1 and zone 2 of the Humphreys Field Analyzer single printout report. Further zones will be taken in the coming classes. If any doubt, any corrections, please comment me in the comment box section, and kindly like, share and subscribe the channel, and click the bell icon for further notification. Kindly like, share and subscribe. Click the bell icon for further notification. Thank you one and all.